Here we go. Winter is coming in more ways than one, as we are about to enter December and a new era, potentially, in all elite wrestling. Hello, everybody. I'm not going to hum the Game of Thrones reference. Forget that. But my name is Noah Foster, and I'm just a simple man. And with me tonight, he is the good doctor. He is a great role model, a kind-hearted fellow, a man of Christ. Shout out to Lance Larcher, by the way, as we all praise the Lord every day because God is good. And also happy Thanksgiving to you all. But please welcome my good longtime friend here, Dr. Brad Campbell, Farm D. Dr. Brad, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and happy Thanksgiving to all the viewers and everybody in Team All Elite as they check out this discussion we're about to have. One of the things I'm thankful for is the fact that we have a company like AEW that's really taken the world of wrestling by storm and really just kind of turned the business upside down. And, it's something to look forward to week after week.
Absolutely. It always seems like every episode offers you something different. And whether you agree with it or not, it does leave you wondering. It does leave you questioning. And at the end of the day, it wants you to see what's next because it leaves you wanting more, maybe wanting resolution, maybe wanting something bigger, who knows what. And once again, they did that this week with a number of, I would say, surprises. We had some real talk from not just Eddie Kingston, but some powerful promos, some great match builds, some interesting developments, and of course, overall, great action. With that, let's go ahead and get started, of course, with, as always, an AEW Spark. And this is a standard edition, folks, that come to you on Thanksgiving, November 16th. Botch. November 26th, 8:27 Houston. Can you tell I'm full of food and ready to sleep? I still have to get my dessert. Sweet potato pie and pound cake. But I digress. I'm going off the rails already. And anyway, didn't have enough Mountain Dew. 8:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, November 26th. And again, to all my fellow Americans, happy Thanksgiving to you all and to everyone out around the world. I wish you nothing but blessings and safety as we continue through these hard times in this unprecedented era in our lives where we only will come out stronger on the other side. With that being said, let's go ahead and first shed some light on Dark, because good Lord Almighty, if these Darks get any longer, I'm going to feel like I'm watching a Monday Night Raw without commercials, because literally it's pretty much 95% wrestling with now one talk segment. And I must say overall, once again, I enjoy the showcases that I saw, debuts, and of course, four-comer wise, and AEW foreshadowing too. We obviously saw them with Ty Conti in the waiting room, though I think Reba's the star in that. Just saying. I agree with Ref Aubrey. That laugh, though, is almost like you put a button on it and go, almost like Elmer Fudd nearly. And I thought Panda Express and Jurassic Express, that was interesting to say the least. And this pairing of the Bionic Beast, Jenna, also known as Genocide, and Lady Frost. It was an odd tag team. I kind of like the whole stand dynamic with Dream Girl Ellie and her better, but I thought Dream Girl Ellie looked pretty good in her singles. And of course, Kylie King, still one of my favorites. Glad she picked up the win. What the hell? Are you kidding me? You give 15 plus weeks to the one big story related to Dark to give Brendan Cutler's first victory, only for 4 weeks later, you turn Peter Avalon into this, and he finally gets his first win too. Bullcrap! But I digress. Those are just some thoughts I have on Dark. Again, great action overall. I had to watch the episode today due to, services I have with family. I just got my families back with me, especially my mom. But again, incredible episode. But can you try and keep it under 2.5 hours, maybe under 2 hours? Just saying.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on Dark.
I've been loving Dark, but dude, like I watched it kind of late on Tuesday just because getting home from work and going to get dinner with the family, and I was like, is this going to end? Dark's been getting better quality wise. Like I feel like when Dark first rolled out, it was really more of just like it was really just free publicity. It was a show that, hey, there's another wrestling show out here, watch this for free.
Get an idea of what AEW is. Yeah,
it was a lot of stomp matches, a lot of quick squashes. It was exposure for a lot of the talent, but now you're getting some good solid wrestling matches. You're also starting to see some more great wrestling matches. A lot of the main event matches on there, are stuff that could potentially roll over to a Dynamite show.
Yeah.
Things that stood out to me. First of all, the segment with Britt Baker was absolutely hilarious, and I really enjoyed that. I think that you know, she's definitely, I've always been a huge supporter of Britt Baker, and she's got a great great mindset for the business. She's great on the mic. Enjoyed Rebel or Reba, and her little laugh was just, you know, just comical. You know, I feel bad because, like, I guess it's been a long day. I got so much Thanksgiving in me, but the tag team that came in, remind me of their name.
Panda Express, that guys, or the
No, the
Acclaim,
guys
that
the guys that rap a lot.
Oh, that's the Acclaim. Max Caster and
Acclaim,
freaking
yes.
Ebony Bowens. They got recently
Yeah.
signed at All Elite Wrestling. Yeah,
I like the Acclaimed. The one guy kind of reminds me a little bit of Thugonomics, John Cena.
I feel like he's trying to be that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you got a pretty good mic game, but dude, your name is not up there to be the same as John Cena. Just saying.
Well, you know, you can definitely tell he's got that inspiration from Cena, but he's not coming out with the same swagger that Cena had. He's coming out more of, you know, hey, I'm going to come out, I'm going to rap, and I'm going to do it just to specifically just burn you. Cena seemed to more take the approach of, I'm going to rap because this is what I do. I know the crowd's going to love it and get behind it, and I'll throw some insults at you here and there. But he's got a different style of how he does things, so I can respect that. Kylan King getting a win. Love Kylan King. Love her entrance music. Her entrance music is great. I love her look. She's got kind of that little bit of that punk rock kind of feel to her, with her swagger, with how she carries herself.
The King of Crazy, she calls herself.
Yeah, and you know, she's not bad in the ring at all. She's pretty good. I mean, she's definitely. I could see her being a champion one day. Give her a few years. Then of course you got Brandon Cutler getting more wins. You know, maybe Frankie Kazarian will tease him about being Taker on another segment of being the Elite.
One of my all-time favorites.
Those are probably the big highlight. And TH2.
Yeah,
Their match. Those are probably the biggest highlights from Dark for me.
Yeah, it seems like TH2 and SCU, they're continuing their hostilities, but also Top Flight now seems to be taking it to TH2, which we'll talk about now beginning to Dynamite. But I'm glad TH2 is finally making waves across Dark into Dynamite. As we see more of these AEW talent showcase on Dark, it starts to develop into something maybe for them to happen on Dynamite. And also all these independent wrestlers, they get a spotlight to show what they bring, and you don't know what it could lead to. I mean, I never thought I would actually see the Acclaim signed to All Elite Wrestling, but definitely Top Flight deserved it after that match with the Young Bucks and so many more. I'm just waiting for them to add more to the women's division now, because again, I feel like the first tier name, Kylan King, definitely, because she has shown me all the tools of the trade, promo and in-ring wise. I think it can be a huge foundation to this women's division, along with others now we've seen on Dark too, based on some history and I know outside of AEWDARK with some of these connected talents to, of course, their time with Dynamite as well. But we'll talk about that later. Let's go ahead and get right into the show then. Again, Dark, though, the quality's there, the quantity, maybe a little too much. 17 matches, now you're pushing it. Just saying.
Yeah,
okay.
That was, I don't know if there's like, hey, we're thankful to be a company, so here's all this wrestling that you guys can go back and watch on Thanksgiving.
Like yeah, you eat too much at Thanksgiving. Are you watching too much wrestling from one product?
It's like when your family starts talking about COVID and the election, just go turn this on. You'll have plenty of content to watch to avoid.
Maybe that's why they're doing it.
Conversations.
Maybe that's why they're doing it. Distract you from the rest of the madness in the world and just give you some fun and wrestling and subtle banter with Excalibur, Taz, and the Go-Go guy, and Starks at times too. I miss Vader Scott, just saying. Great interview, by the way, from Amy with WrestleJoy. Go ahead and give that a look, folks, to get a chance. Excuse me. Again, full of Thanksgiving food. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this week's Dynamite as it was the preview to Winter. For Winter is coming. And yes, I realize that's the name of episode 1, season 1. Yes, I'm a nerd. For Game of Thrones. But I digress. Let's go ahead and talk about this show. So our opening match was Johnny Hungry Number 4, the Dark Order. John Silver taking on Hangman Adam Page. And why Dark Order always said, "Oh, Hangman," on freaking BTE. We literally had a point where Hangman walks into their room, gets a drink, says it with them, walks out, and Evil was like, wait. I got a plan. It's an opportunity. I got to go do something. And we saw highlights of this after this match. But let's go ahead and look at the match first, because good Lord, John Silver, he is extremely impressive. This was a very compelling opener, back and forth, aggressive affair. Both men going tit for tat. John Silver showing some subtle humor. He wanted like a fist bump at first. He wanted to do a flex off. Adam Page wasn't having none of that. I'm pretty sure him and Adam Page was more focused here. I feel like he was wrestling sober. Just saying, because, we didn't see the drink. Just saying. But in the end, he finally did pull out that buckshot lariat that turned John Silver inside out, upside down the next week, and he got the win. But then afterwards, when you think that the Dark Order, we're going to come down and maybe attack him, no. They were extending a bit of an olive branch, maybe trying to recruit a vulnerable, anxious millennial cowboy. As Evil Uno brings up this idea of, you are trying to get out of the shadow of the elite, but you're in it more than ever. We have many regrets for what we have done to you especially, but I know you have some regrets of your own. This is not a cult, but know that we are a family. We care about you. My friends and I are here for you. You know where we are. You know where to find us. That's gotta leave him and Adam Page thinking, because at this point, we don't know what's next for the man. He came in All Elite Wrestling, went after the title, lost to Jericho, had the opportunity to go after the title against John Moxley if he beat Omega. He lost. Omega has an opportunity to go out to the World Championship. The Bucks are tag team champions. Him and Adam Page has nothing after being kicked out of the Elite through misguided judgment, it seems. So is the Dark Order the way to redefine Hangman Adam Page? So Dr. Bradley, give me your thoughts on this match and Dark Order, Adam Page. Is it a pairing you could see?
Well, I'm really glad you asked that question. So first off, thoughts on the match. That match stood out for a number of reasons. Number one, Dynamite has had a consistency of starting their show off with tag team matches. This is the first time we've seen Dynamite kick off with a singles match in, I don't know how long.
It's been a while, I'll tell you that much.
Well, and if it has, this is one that's really, really stood out, because also these are two guys that you've not seen kicked off Dynamite in quite some time, and for those two to go on their own, it's interesting because you had a lot of focus on Hangman. He was a tag team champion, Kenny Omega. So there's this almost kind of like redemption story arc that they've been teasing. But in the absence of Mr. Brody Lee, you've got John Silver, who has really made a name for himself as a strong component of the Dark Order. He's been incredible on BTE. He's really showing he can do in the ring. I thought the last pay-per-view, he and Orange Cassidy had a great match.
I agree. That was a sleeper for me. I was really surprised by that.
Yeah. And Silver's got a good build. He's got good physique. He's got a great mind for what he does in the ring, just the little things he does with his facial expressions. And the thing is, I almost thought that, maybe Silver might actually win, but I don't think that loss he took to Hangman is going to hurt him. Hangman is kind of a bigger star. The teasing of him going to the Dark Order, it is a swerve, but who knows what could happen, because you also got Colt Cabana, who's still kind of on the sidelines, on the fence. So, there's a lot of things they could do there. You could have Hangman join the Dark Order. You could have him feuding with Colt next, just because you got two sideline guys. Maybe one of them is going to be chosen. Whoever wins a match against one another.
Could Could Heyman Page be a replacement for Colt Cabana, who Evil Uno was the only one who still seems like he sees something after Mr. Broily was extremely disappointing? We still see Colt Cabana, by the way. He doesn't even do the same thing as the Dark Order. I mean, he was waving while everyone else did the actual symbol. So you might be onto something. Is Heyman Page to be Colt Cabana's replacement? Is Heyman Page to be playing a tag team with Colt Cabana? Is Heyman Page and Colt Cabana going to fight for the right to be part of the Dark Order? You might be onto something. That's a totally different swerve. But I think bottom line, when Mr. Broily returns, there's going to be, if this is not a other C word, but like a corporation type thing when you think about his stance and the suits and everything, I feel there's going to be maybe some, what's the word I'm looking for? Performance reviews when it comes to members of the Dark Order based on wins, losses, effectiveness, etc. But I digress. We'll talk more about that, I guess, later. Following that, we go backstage where we find Alex Marvez with, speaking of corporate Omega, Kenny Omega. And they talk about, of course, this big time match. Winner is coming, the main event. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. And Alex Marvez was simply asking him about his contract signing, Jon Moxley taken out. He wasn't there to sign it. You signed it. You seem confident, etc. Mm-hmm. And we heard everything that Kenny Omega said about the wrestler, their past, and also family. Very subtle promo, cleaner-wise, as he did, of course, give us our phrase, without the kiss. But I thought it was rather interesting. And again, shades of that confident, somewhat heelish Omega we know from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Give me your thoughts on this promo.
Well, first, let me just start out by saying I'm a huge mark for Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley both. Those are my two favorite wrestlers in AEW right now.
Respect.
So I have very high expectations for this match, especially considering the match from the previous year's Revolution that was, off the record book, so to say, which I loved.
That unsafe match at Full Gear, botched, but I know what you're saying.
Full Gear, yeah. I'm allowed a couple of those. It's Thanksgiving. I'm full of food. Yes, full Gear. Yeah, Revolution's in February. I'm looking forward to Revolution. There we go.
That's the next one coming up. But you're good. I got you. Full Gear 2019. I got you.
Yeah. That was such an incredible match. But the thing is, when you think about it, when Jon Moxley won the AEW championship from Chris Jericho, that made headlines. A buddy of mine even said, who follows sports, was like, "Hey, I heard Jon Moxley won the title." Doesn't know much about wrestling, but he knows I'm a fan. He mentioned that to me. He goes, "Yeah, this guy looks pretty legit." Oh, yeah. He's top wrestler of the year of PWI magazine. Kenny Omega has been has many accolades at PWI. Dave Meltzer's given the guy 11-star matches.
Give or take an average, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I know. I'm exaggerating here, but this is such a good story because you're able to pull in from what the world of wrestling has seen. You got two guys that are highly regarded with such high accolades, and these two guys are going for the top prize in AEW, and it makes perfect sense. The fans have wanted to see Kenny Omega get a shot at the title. Jon Moxley, I feel like overall has had a very strong title run. The only thing that I wish was that this was at a pay-per-view, but with timing, I understand why they want to do it sooner rather than later, but you also have to consider both the guys are hurt right now, and Moxley's getting ready to be a father at some point. So this is very up in the air as far as what we could see happen as winter is coming.
Yeah. And again, literally it's about who is the best in the world. And we've heard all the shades of Kenny Omega, like, I was once known as the best in the world, but more so you've been having that moniker. Here I win this tournament, and now I'm once again in that name mix. But here's the difference between the first match we had and this one. This one's going to count, and this one's not going to involve thumbtacks, chairs, or tables. You have to beat me in the middle of the ring, but you have to do it with your ability. And that's all he wants. He just wants a gentleman's agreement on a pure pro wrestling championship contest. No garbage wrestling, as he puts it. Leave the garbage wrestling at home.
Yep.
All right. So we'll see what comes from there. So going from there, we go into Powerhouse Hobbs' debut, now under Team Taz. I did not see that coming again from last week. And he squashed Lee Johnson. But more so, this was not about the match. This was about what Taz represents and what he believes FTW should be and represents. I don't know about you, so I want you to actually lead this one. I'm not going to say anything else. Talk to me about your thoughts of the Taz promo.
Oh boy.
Yeah, did that not get personal real fast or what? Yeah, take it away. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Taz is exceptional on the mic. I think if you're to make comparisons to WWE, where WWE has Paul Heyman, AEW has Taz. If you're to put things in perspective,
like that.
You know, the thing is that there's a lot of history with Taz in that title. I think for him to come out and basically say, you know, my title is not recognized. I've got the baddest dudes on the planet. I want a higher up official to come out and recognize, so to say. I thought it was very, very ballsy promo. I thought it was a very, very real promo. And I think what that does after a squash match with Hobbs, this shows that Team Taz is going to be a strong faction in AEW. I mean, consider the fact that you know, Brian Cage is just a beast in itself. Ricky Starks has been phenomenal on Dark, especially here recently doing commentary. You've seen him jump in, giving his thoughts. Team Taz is no joke.
No.
They're here, and they're here to make a name for themselves, and they want that recognition, and they're going to get it one way or another. And that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and dissect this, because this all comes down to Taz and what he represents, what he wants respected, and that's FTW. As he, of course, now has Powerhouse Hobbs, who squashes, might I add, a newly added member of the Nightmare family, Lee Johnson, in a pretty quick match. But again, all he says it's just business. So once the business is taken care of, Taz goes in and tries to take care of his business. This, to me, had shades of what CM Punk wanted to get. He wanted to get respect. He wanted to be heard. I mean, Taz name dropped the guy in charge of production for the microphones, Keith Mitchell, who literally, and then he ended up going to get Justin Roberts' microphone.
Yeah. You know, I didn't make the comparison, but you think about it, it kind of does have that CM Punk pipe bomb promo type of feel.
Think about that.
When you look back on it, that's a good insight. I have to give you that one.
Yeah, and then as he continued to talk about the FTW title, he wants some respect put on it, the respect it deserves. Wants somebody to come out from the back. And here I thought JR was going to be like, we'll be back, folks. We go to commercial, bring your restaurant quality, picture in picture. I'm glad they didn't do that. But he was getting sick of the disrespect to the point he was not going to leave the ring, even if they did cut his mic off again. And I bet you they were planning to. So who comes out but Cody? And Cody, who we've heard recently, has had some things to say regarding FTW, the title, and Team Taz in general. And literally, Cody's like, okay, someone's here. You want respect of this. I'm getting it. How about this? I'll run it up the flagpole. And then this is where I really started to get comparisons to the whole CM Punk vibe, or maybe just creative direction-wise when it comes to this business. What does Taz say? Oh, that's it? I'm just supposed to be complacent? You got nothing else for me? Nothing creative here? Is that all? You know, I'm really sick of you and what you are doing here in AEW. And I'm sick of the disrespect that the FTW title is getting, and it deserves more. And then out of nowhere, when you figure what Taz represents, FTW and this mentality, Cody makes it personal. Okay, this is so important. This is such a big deal. This means everything to you. This should be the number one thing recognized. Well, let me ask you this. Why is your son, who wants to be a professional wrestler, not training with you, but with me? Damn. And then Taz, didn't blow a gasket. He's like, took it too far. that was sick, that was wrong. You're over the line. And your face just going to walk away as Cody's like, okay, we got control here. Transmission! We have not seen the transmission in forever, and it looked like he literally was going to choke the man out until other new members of the Nightmare family, the Gun Club, they come into play. They run Taz out. Apparently, Taz has been escorted off the premises, not to be seen. But of course, we know Team Taz has something to say about this later. So here's my thoughts on this. I did not know truly what FTW was going to represent or bring in AEW. I thought it was just a showpiece, a moniker, a nameplate, if you will, that he just gave Brian Cage. Truth be told, had one defense against one Will Hobbs, who's now part of Team Taz. It's almost like they're trying to make the FTW title not a championship title, but something else, but it wants to be defined at AEW. I'm not sure what. But what it sounds like we're going to do now with everything going on with the Nightmare family and Cody and Brandy, as we'll talk about later, we might be developing something now where it comes to the Nightmare family versus Team Taz, as we're kind of getting next week with Winter is Coming. But I will say this, the fact that we literally saw Taz's son on TV holding the FTW title, walking with his father, you got to imagine the number one person that's more confused than anything right now and don't know what he's going to do and really is going to be defined, I think, in this story is going to be Taz's son. So right now, I just got to ask you, Dr. Brad, what's going to happen next? Are we getting Cody versus Taz? Is Hook going to have to make a decision? Is Hook going to step up to the plate and say something against Cody? Are we going to get maybe Cody leading somebody in Nightmare family like Austin to take on the young up-and-comer Taz's son, with Taz maybe in his son's corner and Cody in Austin's corner? Or I guess Billy makes more sense. In Austin's corner, something's got to be developing bigger here regarding Taz and FTW that apparently is going to surround the Nightmare fans. When it comes to Cody, he is that pillar that you have to meet to really be defined, I feel like, in AEW, despite what people think. He's the ace of the company. Just going to keep it as simple as that. Look how long it took for Darby Allin to finally beat the guy, and now he's a champion. And right now, that's kind of on the back burner, which is weird. But again, I want to just give me your thoughts more so on the Taz mentality at this point. What's next?
Well, I think that this, I think we're gonna see a feud that's rooted in family. We just, I mean, Will Hobbs just defeated Lee Johnson.
Squashed him.
Part of the night, huh?
Squashed.
Yeah, part of the Nightmare family. You've got Team Taz, who just got Will Hobbs, and you know, you got him along with Absolute Ricky Starks, Brian Cage. After that promo, that segment, you got Taz's son being brought into the factor. You know, Cody's married to Brandy. He's got his brother Dustin. I think we're going to start seeing members of the Nightmare family going up against Team Taz. I think that's going to be a next major storyline. I mean, you got to think Cody Rhodes is amazing on the mic, as is Taz. I think we're going to see a series of matches being set up. If not on Dynamite, we may see some on Dark. You're going to start seeing various matches, combinations of, like, you know, let's say you got Brian Cage going up against Dustin Rhodes. You'll start seeing maybe like Ricky Starks going up against QT Marshall. Will Taz wrestle? You know, that's a really, really good question. I think he's going to be an integral part of this potential story that I am thinking that could take place. I think in the end, though, you're going to have something similar to what we saw with the Nightmare family going up against the Dark Order in that big tag team match. I think we're going to see Nightmare family versus Team Taz. It's coming.
Well, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, because also Cody did subtly tease what is happening next week regarding Team Taz, giving them respect, as again, we'll have Cody and Darby Allin taking on Powerhouse Hobbs and Absolute Ricky Starks, which is odd considering Brian Cage was the one to beat Cody and Darby Allin in the previous tag match, pinning the TNT champion. So is that also on the back burner too? I don't know. But again, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But I think you're right. There's going to be some sort of Nightmare family versus Team Taz clash for the foreseeable near future, maybe just through the month of December. And winter might just be the start of it. Again, winter is coming. Yeah, maybe it's the start of a new temporary short season of Dynamite. Like, again, they try and be more sports oriented, like maybe they're training like in seasons now, not just quarters. But we'll have to wait and see. But very interesting promo segment, to say the least. Well,
winter is coming for a December to dismember.
As long as it doesn't become that. Oh my God, what a blemish.
I know. That was a terrible wrestling joke. I just had to throw that in there.
I've had horrible days of booking with wrestling where I'm like, I can't watch this. Click, WWE. And I was at one point, it was so bad. I literally said, and I quote, I think I'd rather watch December to Dismember than Monday Night Raw. That's when you know I've hit my breaking point. But I digress. Anyway, that was not the case here, as there was no points that were pretty much unattainable when it comes to the height, the athleticism, and honestly, the veteran in-ring IQ I see in these young up-and-comers in both Top Flight especially, but also TH2. As we continue TH2 rise to once again continue to show why they should not be an underfought and why they should be contending for the AEW Tag Team Championships. But instead, these young up-and-comers, Top Flight, they weren't even signed for the company at the time, but they get signed for one match, big freaking what with the Young Bucks, and TH2 got sick of it. So what happens? Top Flight attacks TH2 regarding their match they won on Dark, and this tag match was made official. And good Lord Almighty, this tag match was up and down all over the place, speeds of 0 to 100, only for TH2 in the end to prove they are the better team. They got the better of the young duo after that ridiculous submission. It was almost like a hybrid dragon screw into a reverse figure fourth, what they call it, the Nirvana Death Roll, something like that. And it's like a weird hybrid leg lock, basically. No, Navarro Death Roll, excuse me. And at the end of the day, Top Flight had to tap out. But again, Top Flight, second match of the Dynamite, they are proving how far they can go, but also how much they know. And again, 19 and 21 respectively. And these two are just simple brothers that are just fans of tag team wrestling. And here we are with Angelico, who's been involved 13 years, according to what Jim Ross said. Commentary very slow, by the way, on this episode of Dynamite. And at the end of the day, TH2 wanted to make an infallible statement against these young up-and-comers. Makes it a message to Young Bucks. Young Bucks come out, they drive them off. I feel like we're getting TH2 versus the Young Bucks very soon. What they're going to have to do to get that match, Young Bucks going to demand it, how they fit on the rankings. I haven't looked at the rankings today. I don't know. But give me your thoughts on this match. We got TH2 that's trying to bring hype back to themselves and their way up to the rankings. And you got this up-and-coming tag team in Top Flight and what is the most diverse and in-depth tag team division of all professional wrestling. Give me your thoughts on this match. It was wild.
Yeah, I think we just saw the future of tag team wrestling in AEW. If I had to sum up that match in one simple sentence, those are two tag teams with hungry guys who want to show what they can do and want to make their presence known. You know, Top Flight, you think about it, they had a really, really great match with the Young Bucks the previous week. They showed they can handle the Bucks. Yeah. I mean, very impressive, match. And now you got TH2, who we've seen, promo after promo for the longest time. And it was a matter of time before we finally started seeing them on Dark and then eventually Dynamite, all over the place. 0 to 100. I mean, I think you said it best. I was watching. I was like, when's this match going to end?
What was the one move that was going to be the breaking point?
Yeah, then that submission at the end, plus with that stomp taking place, and then the Young Bucks coming out. That right there is like, okay, I think we've seen our next contenders to go for the AEW tag team titles.
Well, they're definitely sending messages, if nothing else. And again, you might be right with the future because again, Top Flight. 19, 21, just starting, it seems, in the game. So well-rounded, though. You can't teach tag team chemistry like that more than family. And these two, again, they are brothers. And these two with hybrid tag team offense, I haven't seen in ages, including smart tags in and out, of course. And then Jack Evans, he got powerbomb, pinning attempt by Dante. One point, we had a Torpe Suicida into a Torpe Conholo follow-up. I don't know how the hell you do that without crashing into each other. Seamless transitions among the two. Counter for counter, tag team, ingenuity, and wrestling. It was unbelievable, to say the least. And JR says, it looks like Top Flight got some pretty good mentors. Yeah, apparently. Yeah, this might be the Young Bucks 2.0 for all we know. I mean, again, you got to imagine. Young Bucks see something in these two. And that's why their first match, they faced the two for the titles. That's got to mean something. But we'll have to wait and see how far this goes. Speaking of how far something can go, it's weird. It was suddenly teased after Red Velvet got squashed by Nyla Rose after the build up to Full Gear, where, of course, Nyla Rose was facing Carl Sheeta for the title. And then we get, of course, Vicky Guerrero, who, when it comes to mic work for a female manager, you hate hearing her, but she owns what she says, blasts Brandy. And it seems like it's really coming to fruition here, too, after Brandy stepped up her promo game, getting into Jade Cargill's face last week, and went straight up ghetto on her, just saying, damn. And then she paid for it, of course, where I'm getting crushed, as Vicky and Nyla watch from afar. And then you see who comes out to help Brandy in that case from further damage. Big Swole and Red Velvet. We're building some tag team feuds here, building something else in the women's division. And it honestly looks like we're building towards maybe attempt at a hostile takeover, as it looks like Vicky Guerrero is building her own faction to take on a faction led by Brandy Rhodes. I must say, this is an interesting dynamic, and as Vicky Sully summed it up, Brandy Rhodes, it looks like your business plan is set up for failure. So if you need any advice, call me. So it looks like now we got a little bit of internal competition to see who is best for business in their eyes for the AEW women's division. I must say, this gives me now some more dynamics to figure out in the women's division, which of course been the biggest underlight of the first year. Glad to see more is being built. Glad to see the champions being more showcased. Glad to see more depth and character is also being here. And potentially maybe more depth to the roster of who we see on Dark and the audiences on Dynamite. Just saying. But Dada Brad, give me your thoughts. We've been WWE fans our whole life. We know Vicky Guerrero. We know her influence on the business, not just because, of course, she was married to Eddie Guerrero. She ran Monday Night Raw. She ran SmackDown. She led people to championships. Edge, Dolph Ziggler, just named probably her two biggest clients. And now we see her in AEW, try to lead Nyla to the title. Didn't work. Got in Nyla's face. We haven't heard anything from Nyla, but she's still there in the background. Clearly, I must be under the learning tree. Now we got this very unique physical specimen, shades of a body almost like Camille in a way, Jade Cargill, who also might be working with Figueroa for a common cause to take out Brandy. So I have to imagine, what is the end game here? Are we going to see Brandy and Vicky in a verbal battle? Is Jade and Brandy going to be picked up? Is Brandy going to face Jade? Well, obviously not right now because her arm's screwed up. And what do you see going on right now in the women's division from this internal business competition between what really feels like two managers?
Well, one thing that in Shane Wells and Ryan Schmidt, we've talked about this. For those who are on the Team All Elite chat, messenger chat, WWE spent several years really developing their women's division, and they have an incredible women's division right now.
Absolutely.
AEW has a lot of potential. I think that early on, you could see the talent, but the women's division it seemed to be, that was the one thing that seemed to get a lot of flack from the fans early on when AEW was coming onto the scene. You got Hikaru Shida, who's very talented in the ring. She's good at what she does. She's been a solid champion. There hasn't really been a lot of story with the women's division other than, Britt Baker and her feud with Big Swole. And then some of the little segments here and there where Vicky Guerrero came in her promos. We need more story in the women's division, and Vicky Guerrero is the key to that. Brandy Rhodes is also very, very good on the mic. Those two together and those two being up against one another, I think presents a lot of opportunity for a lot of the female talent on that roster. So if there is truly going to be factions, you got Team Brandy and Team Vicky, this could do a lot for setting up a series of matches and for a lot of the women's divisions to showcase themselves. And maybe we can finally see another strong number one contender to go for that title, as we just saw Anna Jay recently, who I thought was the best choice to challenge. But now we have to find somebody new. This could set the tone for who that individual is going to be.
Okay, I like that a lot. And again, there's a lot of underlying details because we know the first reason Jade Cargill came in the ring, she basically got up in Cody's face, talked about a giant, so is Jade Cargill, maybe a teaser, a valet, a manager for herself, for someone bigger. Jack, just saying. There's a lot of underlying details here that we really don't know which way they're going. And it could clash also. But as far as women's division, I agree. Vicky and Brandy leading some young up-and-coming women into battle, it could lead to some interesting character development and some matches. More women showcasing on Dynamite too, which of course we all keep urging Dynamite to do. We watch NXT. You see how many times the women are showcased through that. There's like 3 different women's segments this past episode, just saying, including 2 women's matches most of the time. So yeah, but we're gonna have to wait and see. But speaking of, matches and you waiting and experience, give me your thoughts on this. To think, Christopher Daniels and Chris Jericho have never, ever met in the ring at all, in any capacity. They finally met under tag team action. And apparently there's like 57 years of combined experience between those two. And it was nice to see those two tag it up, it seems. Then you got Kazarian, of course, who's an underlying tag waiting to explode, who wants to own everything with one of the strongest win-loss records in AEW, experience-wise and statistically. But more so, you got this foundation now, this new inner circle with the additions of Wardlow and MJF. And it looks like now things seem to be more right as rain, more peachy keen. And literally MJF, he comes into way to give LaChampion the victory after the 42K punch. And then, of course, the Judas effect via Chris Jericho. He pins Christopher Daniels. They go for the beatdown. Kaz, he does not like the fact MJF's in his face. He drops MJF with a forearm, but then he is at the numbers game. Scorpio Sky comes out with a chair, and all 7 men ran. Now, that was probably the most screwy decision to me because I'm like, okay, there's 7 of you, there's 1 chair. You're telling me with Wardlow and Hager especially, even though Hager was in the match and he picked up the ball, probably like expensive energy. These guys couldn't stop Scorpio Sky, who, let's be honest, has been kind of like an underfought now, it seems, since that loss to Shawn Spears. But I just want to get your general consensus on this match. I thought the tag match was okay. I kind of want to see Daniels and Jericho mix up one-on-one, but we know what's going to come. And give me your thoughts so far on this new inner circle. Do you see it stronger or eventually crumbling from within?
I mean, it was. I felt it was a solid tag team match. It's hard to follow. The previous tag team match we saw on the night.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Top Flight TH2 just set the bar. Incredible match. So I mean, they already kind of had their back against the wall in terms of putting on a quality match, but it was good. Mm-hmm. There's some cool things. I like the fact that we got to kind of see Jake Hager do a little bit more. We haven't really seen him in the ring in a while, so I appreciate the fact that we got to see him go out a little bit more. Yeah, exactly. And I was happy to see Hager get a win because I feel like with Jericho and Hager working together, the inner circle is going to look to be a dominant force in the tag team division, which we need the tag team division to shake up a little bit. It seemed like we had the same teams that were always vying for the titles for the longest time. And not that those teams, aren't good at what they do. They're incredible teams. The Young Bucks, FTR, Lucha Brothers, Butcher and the Blade. But it seemed like we had those teams consistently vying for the top. We need to have some fresh teams. What better than to get a team of experienced guys with Jericho and Hager, who we know can work great matches and can really add something new to the tag team division in AEW.
Yeah, so let me ask you this regarding tag teams. I mean, Inner Circle had prime probably this entire time. I think they had maybe, one tag title shot? I don't even know if they ever had a tag title shot, honestly. It's surprising to me that team has never had a shot at the titles or come close. And then I look at this Inner Circle right now, and it's like there's different connections right now happening within the Inner Circle. You look at MJF and I think Ortiz. I think they're coming a little closer than Ortiz and Santana, and that's the tag team. And then on the other side, you got more like Santana and Sammy kind of coming together also. So there might be some new hybrid tag teams also forming too. There also might be some underlying trust issues within the inner circle as well. And I still feel like there is that subtle grudge there too. You saw it in the backstage promo later on, where literally we look at this inner circle, Aewspark asking about it regarding the tag match, the aftermath. MJF, though, he takes the mic like, you owe me dental work. But here's the one thing I noticed. Not the fact that we're getting Kazarian versus Chris Jericho should be awesome, because Kazarian always shines in singles matches. I just wish he'd win more. Maybe this will be a big time win for him. First time ever, I might add. But also, you keep seeing it in the background. Hager, Wardlow, they're just staring at each other. I remember going to see an eventual clash of the beasts when it comes to those two.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for it. I feel like this inner circle is just a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. I just don't know how it's going to happen and what's the first piece is going to cause it. It might be as soon as winter for all we know, because of Jericho losing Kazarian, who we blame for that. So I don't know. There's a lot of moving components, I feel like, in this new inner circle, like, quantity over quality. Yeah, the quality is there, but is the quantity too much again? So we're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, really good tag match. Daniels, of course, always shine. Again, Daniels, he's timeless like Dustin, it seems. He did pull off the best movesault ever for a near fall. But there were distractions galore. Inner circle playing part ringside. Hager, of course, showed his MMA background, really working the body, especially the rib cage of one Christopher Daniels. Kazarian gets the hot tag. And of course, Kazarian, he gets the match back in SC's favor. Yeah. Subtle touch, by the way, AEW has done now since adding, new graphics, updated, like theme and all that type of stuff, different font. They're giving it more of a sports, but now giving you the actual team colors of the competitors in the ring. I like that to a degree. Again, giving you that like sports feel. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good match. And as Excalibur says, strength in numbers, who can beat the inner circle? Yeah, they're strength in numbers, but do those numbers, I don't know, ever collide? We're just going to have to wait and see. All right, so I'm just going to say this real quick. Miro, you're a great gamer, but if you're the best man, show me in the ring. I guess he went full Hulk, but we'll never know. The cameraman was knocked down, but apparently we learned one thing you don't do, and even I know this because I'm a gamer. You don't touch another man's console. He wasn't in the game, clearly.
Yeah.
But apparently he had an Xbox One X, and Orange Cassidy just suddenly walks in and beep, turns it off. Merely ensues. We're getting freaking Kip and Miro versus the best friends. It's as simple as that. Now, when that happens, I don't know, because again, this whole backlog underlying detail is the fact that we're waiting for the best man Miro to officially lead us into the wedding, on screen anyway, of Dynamite. I'm pretty sure they already consummated the marriage, because let's be honest, who doesn't? Ahead of the freaking TV one, between Kip Sabian and super bad girl Penelope Ford, who might add has also been showing very strong on Dark. I don't think we should sleep on her at all. I don't have much more to say on this whole Miro, Kip, Orange best friends segment, except just give me Orange versus Miro, because that's the only match I want to see right now after Miro decked him last week. You have any further thoughts regarding this feud, it seems?
Yeah, I mean, it was an okay segment. It didn't really do a lot for me. I think that they could have done a little bit more with it. That camera is going kind of sideways. It's just kind of like, all right. So we're gonna get a match. I think we kind of knew it was coming. I just think, it's. I hope we get a better story in the ring from those two. I'll leave it at that. And I think we will.
Well, we know best friends, when it comes to their in-ring work, they sell everything they do, and they have been incredible storytellers. In my opinion, best tag team in general for AEW this year, with how much they have given us this year, especially during the pandemic era when they were just in the Nightmare Factory. They owned that. As far as Miro, Kip Sabian, and this dynamic, I hope it kind of falls apart once we get past this best friends feud. But going back to also what you said earlier, give the tag division some new dynamic, give the other tag teams you always see in the top picture something else to do. Well, here you go. The best friends have something else to do. But I think coming up next, it's got to be Orange Cassidy versus Miro. And honestly, I can't wait to see that, because outside Mr. Broy Lee, this will be the first real big man Orange Cassidy will be dealing with. And I think those two have a very interesting match, as I feel like Miro is still trying to find himself in AEW, because that's the thing. Versus WWE, who they define you, in AEW, you are challenged to define yourself. And a lot of people have to a degree. Many are still trying and others are learning. And I feel like that also carries over from Dark, as we've seen too. So again, as far as this goes, I'm just going to let it come out and see what happens. But as long as Miro comes out stronger in the end, that's what's most important to me. Because in my opinion, Miro, he can only be the best man. He could possibly be our next champion down the line. But we'll have to wait and see. But speaking of champions, let's just talk about this because this was odd the way they did it. As I just got done with the NoDQ review, shout out to Virtue, Aaron Riff, and Big G. Go follow NoDQ.com, folks. We were slowly talking about the way they approached this contract signing. Over 2 weeks, no table bump. Each week, an individual man, they finally signed it. Was it a bit overkill? Could you potentially have done this maybe on a road to instead? Is there more to it? I thought the promos were a game here, but you wonder if the whole entire in-ring contract signing wasn't necessary. Give me your thoughts on this overall 2-week contract signing. Who had the better promo, Moxley or Omega? And if you would have done any differently, what would you have done?
You know, this is probably my favorite segment from Dynamite. I loved it. I think it leaves a lot of questions. The fact that Moxley attacked Omega and he's just flat out saying, I know you set somebody up to attack me. I don't know who it was, but I know you're behind it. That leaves a lot of open questions to interpretation of, who is Omega getting to do his dirty work for him? Is there really somebody? Was it Omega? Was he really even involved? But I think seeing Moxley just come out and just beat the snot out of him, him just doing the little things like he goes inside the contract, goes, yeah, thanks, Tony, and he gets really really over the top and excited. I thought it added to the expectations we're going to see next week in the match. As far as who had the better promo, I think that depends what you're looking for in a promo. I think if you're looking for story content to add to the promo, I would say that Omega had the better promo. But I think if you're looking for emotion and you're looking for just raw energy, you got to give it to Mox. Depends what you're looking for.
I like that a lot. So you were absolutely fine with this segment overall, both weeks, I'm guessing. You enjoyed the segment each week? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I found it odd because, again, contract signing over 2 weeks. I mean, when does that happen? And also, I feel like, the whole who attack who, I thought they were going to, just sign it all in 1 week, and then he gets taken out the week before the show. We wonder what's going to happen come, the road to, if you're going to show the winner is coming. That'd probably be the one thing I would do. Because, again, we got road to come up, obviously, for the winner is coming Dynamite show. But overall, I like the way you put that. As Omega exudes confidence, he brings up real life events that happen between the two men, individually and also in-ring wise. And also, he's just showing off a more subtle, cocky, confident character. As Justin Roberts once again introduced him this week, giving him accolades galore, something connected to North Carolina. The day that Justin Roberts doesn't say North Carolina Omega promo, I know Omega is changing into something again, and I don't know what. I'm not going to worry about that. But the first time we just see that silhouette, I was like, okay, and then behind him. By the way, how could I forget? It was a solid moment. Eddie Kingston suddenly talking about this way the family has split. Death Triangle's back. Pac gave him 5 different names because he was like, whatever the hell you call him. But before he could continue his rant, who comes up but Jon Moxley? Former friends, former enemies, just now workers. Like, I got no beef with you. I got other business. You know it wasn't me that attacked you, but you know who it was. And you wonder if that also led to that. Because again, Moxley says nothing, but delivers so much in what you think might happen later. And we found out here, because for the first time in that silhouette tunnel after the 80s, you know what, keep the sweeper dancers 80s. I'm fine with that. The 80s are cool. As the sweepers, do their thing, and Omega waits for the thing to come down, who just rises, it seems, does his little thing, and then beats the crap out of you, says corporate Kenny Omega. Literally drives him through that sheet, I guess it is, and gets him in the ring, paradigm shifts him head first onto the title, and gives a raw, emotional promo with some subtle humor, basically saying, I know people that can pull out a good hit, I'll give you their number. But also, if you're going to try and beat me, you got to beat the best professional wrestler in the world. God, I love this shit. And basically,
it was so good.
Yeah. And literally, he's talking about using his own catchphrase against him, okay? You got one shot, don't miss when you step up to, not the prince, like the bar, but the king. And basically, you're not going to get another shot. So steady your hand, aim, and take your shot because you're only going to get one. So we are in for one hell of a match. I can only imagine Omega's mindset now going into that match. Probably more angry than ever, but of course, it'll probably just be dead face. But overall, I did enjoy the contract signing promos, but I probably would have just done the entire contract signing differently. I don't think the contract necessarily need to be in play here personally. This could have just been promo for promo and then the face-off, similar to what they did with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, which still to this day is one of my favorite Dynamite segments of all time, because in that 7-minute segment, I think Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley give us the most raw, emotional promo you're going to hear all year between two friends. That was some powerful stuff, name dropping Eddie Kingston's mother, too. Anyway, he pissed off Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley beat him up, and Jon Moxley gave one last statement of how much he loves this and how much you are going to have to put in and dig deep to beat me, the #1 professional wrestler in the world. I am the best in the world. And if you want to prove that you are, you best come with an Omega that people expected from NJPW and beyond, or you're not going to beat me. A Hitman's not going to do it. Now, going back to your Hitman idea, though, I have a couple ideas. We remember he was going to meet somebody at an airport. We remember that Jon Moxley had a bludgeon, bloody nose. You would think, oh, V-trigger, right, that just takes him out. But I also think about another move, a GTS. And I figure about what my friend Sandy says. We also think about that tweet that Tony Khan that already has people going, you false delivered. Power struggle, shifts, surprises. He lives in Florida. He has an IWGP United States Championship match waiting for him at Wrestle Kingdom. One way or another, I feel like. If not, NJPW strong, because I don't see you doing it on Dynamite. It would be the biggest surprise in the world, but I can't rule it out. If it was Kenta that attacked him and dropped him with a GTS, I can't rule out that idea because, again, he is an IWGP champion. And literally, we are waiting to see the future of the United States Championship. And like you said, Renee Paquette, congratulations on the child. I got to listen to our session too. I heard it's a very good listen. Literally, he's going to be a freaking father. And I feel like he does deserve time off. And that'll be up to him if he wants it. But I'm sure AEW will give that to him regardless. Hell, they might even urge it. Now, you also saying that both these men might be coming in injured. Hey, this is what Jon Moxley lives for. Injury doesn't mean a damn thing to him. But we also read something how Kenny Omega feels about AEW rings versus NJPW rings. He says tough on the knees, it's like quicksand, etc. You wonder if that's going to redefine maybe the foundation of an AEW ring, maybe even ahead of Winter is Coming. There's a lot of underlying factors to figure about all across Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley. But all I know is this. I cannot wait to see this match. It could truly go either way. I truly hope it does not go to a draw. But again, win, lose, or draw, as Moxley says, this is it. Out of this, we are done once and for all. And we're just going to have to wait and see. But before we get to Winter, we still had a championship match ahead on this show tonight, as you subtly talked about. So go ahead and break it down because it's a long time since we saw Hikaru Shida defend the AEW Women's Championship on Dynamite in a very compelling match. And honestly, it was one of the longer matches we've seen on Dynamite for the women's division. If you put that aside with Serena Deeb's matches with the NWA title on the line too, that's the title for AEW on the line. And again, it started with these two that brought Anna Jay into AEW, literally in the genesis of her career. Now redefined as the Queen Slayer of Dark Order, number 99. And clearly, she has massively improved her in-ring game and character game too. It all showed here. Take it away, man. Your thoughts, your moments, your overall epilogue to this match and what happened afterwards. What a match.
I agree. Anna Jay is one of my favorites in AEW, and the only disappointment that I had was the fact that she didn't win the title. I would have loved to have seen it. I think for her to have won, had she won the title, I think it would have been a great victory for the Dark Order. I think it would have been a game changer for the women's division. That being said, it was still probably one of the best women's matches I've seen. in AEW. Well, I'd say within the last couple weeks. It was great match, and I think a big swerve and surprise was the ending of that match, seeing Abaddon come out and the coveting of that title. That tells me that well, a couple things. One, Abaddon's going to be a major player, and that AEW has a lot of confidence. But if you think about it, and I might be reading too much into this, but Survivor Series was this past week, and we saw the end of The Undertaker, and we just have this mystical figure that is no longer active in the wrestling world. Perhaps maybe AEW is going to fill that void of their own, but in the women's division, with this mystical figure that's going to come out of the shadows, out of nowhere, and just wreak havoc. I've always thought Abaddon had a great look. I've always thought her character was different, and it could be really creepy, and it could be really just shocking. So I love the fact that Abaddon's in the title scene, or is looking to be in the title scene.
Well, she's been in the top 5 for a while. She's been hiding on Dark. I think she may have been injured at one point, because I know something changed with one Dynamite. I think it was like her and Ty Conti. So you're definitely on the roll there. But yeah, let's go ahead and slowly talk about this match. Anna Jay, Dark Order, number 99, the Queen Slayer, taking on Hikaru Shida since her rebirth as this Anna Jay now. Both these women have grown tremendously as Hikaru Shida, again, proves to be the strongest force in the AEW women's division, but also a very kind, happy, welcoming character and personality via her YouTube channel and what she brings to the screen. She also has that champion mentality where I'm fine. My knee might be banged up, but I'm fine. It was a vocal working point during this match too. And I'm talking about this a lot because this was my favorite match of the night as well. As Anna Jay also had the Dark Order up on stage, John Silver, Preston, and I believe Alan Angels watching on with her so-called best friend on screen-wise, but also apparently off-screen too, Ty Conti, who, let's add, again, not part of the Dark Order, but you have to imagine that's got to be Anna Jay's endgame for her at some point. I had a feeling that Ty Conti was going to play somehow in this match story-wise, and it did at one point, as Anna Jay was getting frustrated after trying to lock in the Queen Slayer early, couldn't do it. Does get the best of Hikaru Shida, stopping the step-up knee strike off the apron, really working over the leg, pulling up some really great near falls, strong aggression, and in-ring presence. And Stravani says, she's laying it in, man. And JR said, Anna Jay looks very comfortable challenging the best in AEW. Because compared to the first time, she was just green as ever, okay? She really did some great stuff there, but not nearly as much as she did now. And kudos to her growth and credit, because again, she's literally just 1 year in professional wrestling. She's going to have a very bright future, I feel like. As this match continued, though, she literally asked Ty Conti for the chair. Ty does get up, and then Ty, she's like, no, you don't need it. You'll get DQ'd. And Anna Jay is like, okay, fine. But there was a bigger plan. The kendo stick that Hikaru Shida brings into play, literally dropping, sweeping out the leg of Hikaru Shida, long enough for a 3 count, but the rep again distracted, gets in there 2 and freaking 8 ninths. One of the nearest near falls I've seen lately on Hikaru Shida. As this match continues, Anna Jay tries to lock Hikaru Shida again, tries to put her to sleep, doesn't work. Shida again, she counters out, roll through, counters with a shot to the back of Anna Jay's head, and then a beautiful vertical suplex. But following that, Anna Jay reverses it again for a near fall. And folks, he just went off camera. I'm pretty sure that's his phone. Don't worry, he's still here. And literally at the end of it, she finally pulls up. I forget what they call that knee strike though. As Anna Jay just trots into Asita, ducking, hooking the straight the beautiful bridging straight dragon German suplex pinning combination. Almost as good as Penelope Forrest, not as effective as she kicks out. Shida then finally hits an elbow, but Anna Jay kicks out of that pin. And then finally, that running knee strike, that ace in the hole, hinder wise and all, doesn't matter. Anna Jay falls to our champion. Holy Shida. Hikaru Shida retains. And what was definitely her most aggressive body lingering bout to date, as she literally limbers off, it seems. She's going to need some rehab on that, some ice on that knee. But that was a hell of a fight. and Anna Jay, of course, being escorted out with the help of her so-called friend, Ty Conti. So let's go ahead and first talk about Anna Jay and the Dark Order, as I said. 2 losses now on Dynamite for the Dark Order. One of them in a championship exhibition. Anna Jay's first chance at the Women's Championship. Lost. What does this mean now with the prestige of her number and her character and her value in the Dark Order? What is Mr. Brody Lee going to say about all this? How are Stu Grayson and her going to continue their pairing, it seems, on BTE? Again, I see some subtle developments, changes, releases, maybe in the Dark Order, and I think it all comes down to Mr. Brody Lee when he comes back from his ankle injury. Bottom line, I feel like Mr. Brody needs to come back to help me define the Dark Order again. While John Silver has been a great hype guy and a great guy to really pick up what the Dark Order brings, it's not enough, it seems, as the Dark Order is losing. They are not the most threatening, dominant force in AEW anymore, it seems like they were at one point. So Mr. Brody Lee is going to have to redefine a new business plan and try and bring that mystique back. But you talk about mystique, and you talk about who's next for maybe Hikaru Shida, and I just kept thinking about it in the back of my mind ever since that first match on Dark where she freaked out Shida. She's back, literally gurgling blood on the floor. Good God Almighty. The undead, living undead girl, whatever the hell you call her. This dark entity from Rocky Pro Wrestling that my friend at Peanut Butter on Twitter told me about, and that she literally gets signed to All Elite Wrestling. This dark, omnipotent presence that doesn't lose a lot, but sure as hell makes you think about her a lot, is finally back on Dynamite. And it looks like she's going to have to go after Hikaru Shida and her title, as Hikaru Shida literally looks like drops the title, maybe trips on the stairs, looks on in pure fear, as literally Abaddon covets this title and literally marks it with her own bloody tongue. To the point I go on Hikaru Shida's Instagram and All Elite Wrestling Instagram, and Hikaru Shida's like, is my title contaminated now? I don't know what this is about, what she did. So clearly Hikaru Shida, she's freaked. So this is going to be a new psychological warfare battle now for a all-around great professional wrestler. How do you combat your strongest wrestler in your AEW Women's Division? You combat her with a compelling mind game character-wise that also has a strong in-ring game too. I saw what Hikaru Shida had to face with Abaddon firsthand when they first faced off, and Abaddon literally tried to bite Hikaru Shida's arm off. I have a feeling Hikaru Shida has never forgotten about Abaddon, but wish she did. And now she literally has to worry about this living undead girl going after her and her title. So this might be literally Hikaru Shida's toughest challenge of the date. And here I thought it would be Britt Baker who could potentially, Britt Baker could potentially be the next AEW Women's Champion. Now, as far as Anna Jay and Ty Conti goes, how this friendship continues is going to come down to how Ty Conti continues in her matches. Does she finally get influenced by Anna Jay? Anna Jay, how she continues in her matches. Does Ty Conti try and influence Anna Jay? Fight honorably. I feel like these two are due to fall out with each other versus join each other. I feel like we're going to get a one-on-one between these two, potentially. And they're two rising stars in the AEW Women's Division. Again, promising potential for the AEW Women's Division. But the bottom line is this. There are now a lot more things to think about and different dynamics going on in the AEW Women's Division, and I like it. And it's more than just the champion. But I must say, of all challengers to come after the champion, Abaddon was not what I was thinking at this time, but very well is likely happening sooner than later. Beware, Hikaru Shida. Beware. What a match, though. What a segment. And good luck to Anna Jay and her next match, whatever's next for it, Dark Order. And overall, I enjoyed it. It was my match of the night. But as far as, AEW loves to leave you with a moment. Loves to leave you wondering. Gives you a great main event, great compelling action, and commentary was boosted by one Eddie Kingston. A battle of families closed the show. So, Dr. Brad, give me your thoughts on the Butcher and Blade with the Bunny, Ollie, as they took on the newly reformed Death Triangle, Ray Phoenix and Pac, the bastard Pac, with a Pentagon SOM in their corner. Eddie Kingston on commentary. But more so what happened afterwards, too. Give me your thoughts on the conclusion of Dynamite.
I thought it was a great conclusion to Dynamite. I mean, again, the bar was set with Top Flight and TH2, but this is definitely a different kind of tag team match that you saw.
Oh, yeah.
Even different from what you saw with SCU and Jericho and Hager. Seeing Pac back in wrestling an AEW ring was something that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. So that in itself had me excited. I thought that seeing just a very, very physical tag team match with two teams, not something you really see. A lot of the tag team matches seem to be very high flying in nature, except for the FTR guys. Those guys get real nitty gritty. So seeing a tag team match more in that style, right up my alley. I loved it. I thought that that coupled with Anna Jay versus Hikaru Shida were both just fantastic ending to Dynamite. So I mean, yeah. Then seeing Kingston come out the end. I mean, Kingston's just he's phenomenal at what he does.
And Kingston and Alley, they play their parts in this family as they help the Butcher and Blade get the win. Butcher, of course, controlling the match, being the most dominant force in this match. Let's be honest. I love the Butcher, by the way. His style, that war stomp entrance, the in-ring action. I keep saying it. Butcher, Blade, Bunny, Alley is my favorite trio in AEW. Always have been, always will be. Anyway, very aggressive back and forth match. Rey Fenix being the fastest one of them all, like literally a living dart at some points with the risk that he took. As JR suddenly put extreme precision and marksmanship. We had some ridiculous power slams as the Blade really showcased his agility here against Pac. Pac, of course, who took over this match at one point, pulling off like 6 different moves at once. All 4 men colliding into each other. Don't know who's going to take advantage. Everybody freaking down. And then next thing you know, referee is distracted by Butcher and Pac on the outside. Eddie Kingston does not like where this match is going as Pac looks for the finish. Eddie Kingston comes into play, and thanks to that, he literally sweeps the legs of Rey Fenix, who crashes down to the mat. And then, of course, full death, Blade and Butcher, they get the win, finishing off Rey Fenix. And, of course, post-match beatdown statement. The first battle of this war of families goes to Kingston and the family, as Ali, of course, just laughs from ringside, takes part in the melee as well, because, again, it's Crazy Bunny, as I love that. Anyway, as this melee continued, though, and the Death Triangle tries to fight back, who comes out to be the difference maker? You wonder on his own behalf, or maybe he respects the Death Triangle. Now, this is weird for me to say, but the fact that these guys, everybody dies Fiend back from NJPW, which I love, by the way. Did we just see a face turn for Lance Archer, or is this just renewed hostility with the family because he has hatred towards Eddie Kingston? Well, at one point, Lance was about to attack Rey Fenix. What's going on here with Lance Archer? We got to talk about that. Give me your thoughts on that. Because Lance Archer, he cleared house of everybody.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Did we just witness a face turn? But you think about it, I think that we've been waiting for a big moment for Lance Archer. Let's talk about Dark for a minute. How many promos have we seen from Jake Hager, or not Jake Hager, Jake Snake Roberts? How many promos have we seen him do talking up Lance Archer? We've just been waiting for something to happen. And lo and behold, you get to the end of a fantastic tag team match, which I just want to throw in real quick. I think the Butcher was just in amazing form that match. Just his physicality, the way he just threw Rey Fenix one point, I was just,
that was ridiculous.
That was just incredible. But for the Murder Hawk Lance Archer to come out the end and just start wreaking havoc, I've been waiting for something like that to happen. I was happy to see it happen. So it's going to be an interesting turn of events if he truly is a face, because what's that going to mean for Jake the Snake? I mean, how's his character going to change with his promos? What are we going to see from Lance Archer? Is Jake the Snake going to stay heel? Are we going to see some potential distance growing between those two as things progress? I don't know, but I'm excited to see Lance Archer start getting some more action in AEW.
I almost wonder if we're gonna get a Def Rhombus like the referees have the Ref Rhombus, which I think is pretty funny. Awesome shirt, by the way. Though, it's weird because we've seen for the past few weeks on Dark, Lance Archer, according to Jake the Snake Roberts, is going to unleash uncontrollable mayhem. He's not
Yeah.
going to be responsible for it. Then Lance Archer giving us biblical type principles of promises of destruction, mayhem, violence, and just everybody dies, of course. And then we see him, of course, who has the beef with Eddie Kingston. That's Tony Sully said too. But it's like, okay, so now how many enemies does Eddie Kingston have? How many enemies does he need to worry about? Does he need to recruit somebody else to his family? Where does Lance Archer stand? Is he own entity? Will he fight on behalf of Death Triangle? Is he going to take on Eddie Kingston before Pac? Are we getting a triple threat maybe for some odd reason? I don't know where this is going to go and how this might change the dynamic with him and Jake Roberts as well. Is Jake Roberts going to find somebody new to maybe, go under his learning tree? Has Lance surpassed the learning tree that is Jake the Snake Roberts? Because again, never trust a snake. Is Jake going to turn on Lance? There's a lot of different ways that this could go. But right now, it's just Butcher and Blade. They're right now leading on behalf of Eddie Kingston with Ali's help against the Triangle, and I guess we'll see what happens here. But good grief, that was a crazy ending. All right, so before we talk about winner, let's go ahead and talk about two little promo snippets real quick that I almost forgot about. I want to first talk about, of course, Ricky Starks. By the way, nice green screen with the whole lavishing luxury suite. That's a green screen, folks, unless you're blind, okay? But basically, he's speaking on behalf of Taz, truly figuring that Cody has crossed the line. He's going to do this for Team Taz. They appreciate everything AEW has done for them. Totally takes care of them. But next week, you guys are going to feel the wrath of what Team Taz is all about. Ricky Starks is an incredible promo. He literally could be the mouthpiece of Team Taz. If Taz just goes MIA for a while, whether he's written off screen just because of his attack or whatever, or goes against the, the corporate machine, that's all up in the air. Then we also hear FTR, who feel defeated, but also motivated to once again regain what they feel is going to be the defining legacy, the AEW World Tag Team Championships. For 3 seconds, the Young Bucks were the best tag team in the world, despite the fact FTR, according to the first ever PWI 50 top tag team in the world, FTR, well respected and deserved, are the best tag team in the world. Something tells me the dream match, was it a dream for them? No. But that dream match left a mark on FTR and Tully, who totally believes his legacy will be to lead FTR. Fear the revelation. So I gotta wonder, is this one match that truly will happen again? Are we gonna see FTR versus the Young Bucks again? Would the result be different? This is not the Revival versus American Alpha that went 2 more matches into a series, okay? Clearly, FTR set on unrestricted. Those boys got winded. They had to carry the match. Young Bucks did not get winded, okay? Both teams carried that match. It was an homage to everything we love and respect about the past and what the future could be in tag team wrestling. So I'm just going to let you figure on this. Ricky Starks and his promo game, I'm not sure what Ricky Starks was basically trying to put over. Himself more or Team Taz more? And do you see FTR going up against the Young Bucks again for the tag team titles, or should that match just basically be one and done? Should FTR take a different approach and wait for a different tag team champion? Do you want to see that match again?
So to answer part 1 of your question, so Ricky Starks is he's absolute for a reason. He's got a great look, great physique, great in-ring work, and he's a great mouthpiece. I mean, think about it. I mean, he's been on commentary here recently.
Yes, yeah.
I think Ricky Starks is. I think he's there to promote both Team Taz and himself. I think the guy he's been a team player. He's been in several tag team matches already with Brian Cage. So I think that for him, he is showing why he's an integral part of Team Taz. And his mic skills, are one more reason why Team Taz needs to be taken seriously. Now, to answer the second part of your question, FTR. I believe we will get FTR versus the Young Bucks Part 2. Those are 2 incredible tag teams. They had a hellacious match. There was so much storytelling between those 2 teams. Both teams contributed so much. The key is a matter of time. I mean, think about it. Kenny Omega and John Moxley. It's been over a year since those 2 were in the ring together.
That's right.
So will we get Young Bucks and FTR? I believe we will. Eventually, it will happen. It's a matter of when.
Okay, so
Now,
you
will
do.
it be for the tag titles? I think that's the more important question we have to consider, because you got a lot of tag teams who are going to be vying for those titles. You know, FTR is going to be hungry for it. Do we give the Young Bucks a dominant run with those titles? Then FTR takes it back. That's one possibility. Or do you build another tag team to be the next champions, following the Young Bucks, and then we see maybe another feud between those two teams as they both go for the gold again. I mean, we've had so many swerves with AEW storytelling that it's all a matter of time.
I think that's fair. And again, when you figure about time, I think about their quarterly pay-per-view model, and that's when you think they build the biggest matches. Then sometimes we see out of nowhere pay-per-view quality TV, pay-per-view quality matches for free on TV, despite maybe how quality picture-in-picture. So I get what you're saying. And yeah, I guess it just all comes down to interpretation. Again, it's not like they use the same people every week. I mean, there was no Serena Deeb this week at all. She's still the NWA Women's Champion. You wonder who's going to challenge her next. Is she going to fight on the Team Brain's behalf, as we saw her in Big Swole and Red Velvet? And again, Vicky right now only has 2 people, so she has to recruit another. Maybe she gets like Ricochet Chanel. They got squashed by Connie King. I thought that was funny, but I digress. And then you think about the TNT title picture. There's so much to think about, but I feel like there's definitely going to be more for Shao when it comes to winter. Because again, winter is coming. So let's go ahead and talk about that, as we have a stacked show next week of one-on-one first-time encounters, some great tag team action, a Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, and of course, the biggest World Championship match in AEW Dynamite history. Let's go ahead and break it down real quick. Our first match, it looks like, will be Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Legit Layla Hirsch. While Legit Layla Hirsch, she is a young, hungry powerhouse that has all the athleticism, I feel like, of Miro perspectively. I feel like this is going to be more so foreshadowing for what Britt Baker is going to have to deal with soon, and that is somebody who else is going to be another incredible challenge for her as well. In one of the best professional wrestlers in the world, fighters. I'm sorry if I screwed you up, Thunder Rosa. Please don't hurt me. And that is Thunder Rosa. After costing Thunder Rosa in that rematch against Serena Deeb for the NWA World Women's Championship, you wonder, is Thunder Rosa going to show up during this match, cost Britt Baker the win? Is Britt Baker going to lead by example because she's a role model? And it's going to cause Legit Layla Hirsch to tap out to the lockjaw, because Legit Layla Hirsch is one I don't see necessarily tapping out, but I could see Britt Baker getting a win via steal here. Also, Dr. Britt Baker, she's no longer on the top 5. She's been booted. Anna Jay right now is in the number 5 spot, despite her loss. So with that being said, I'm sure that's going to change if, Britt Baker beats Layla, but also the end game here, it's got to be Britt Baker's Thunder Rosa. It gives Britt Baker something to do. It takes our mind off what we think the always would be of Britt Baker being the next AEW Women's Champion, which still could be, although Abaddon would definitely not surprise me. But I'm just looking at this match and wondering, is there more here for Layla, or is there more here for Britt? Who needs to win more? Excuse me. Dadgummit. Give me your thoughts on this match.
That's a good question. I would actually argue, I think Britt Baker needs to win more. She's been out of action for a long time. She is seen as a top contender at AEW's women's division. The last time we saw her in a major match, she lost to Big Swole. I think she needs that win for her own credibility. Layla Hirsch, great talent. I don't think a loss will really hurt her, especially if she has a great showing with Britt Baker. Will we see Thunder Rosa? If we don't see her interfere, my prediction is she will at least be there at the end of the match, especially if there's a Britt Baker win. She will come out. We will see a confrontation at the very least.
Yeah, Reba will just be thrown in front and need a thunder driver because Britt Baker will run away.
Yeah.
Poor Reba. Reba. I like Rebel. Cyber Tokyo Squad shout out. Okay. Yeah, and again, for all we know, based on this showing, it could lead to Layla being signed by AEW. Again, I hope they sign more women's talent, because without Chris Statlander, who's on WWE injury, and Shauna, still stuck in the UK, there needs to be more depth in the women's division. Because for the longest time, I felt like Sheeta, Statlander, Ford, and Shauna, and Britt were the key 5 players in the division. And now Big Swole, of course, coming off a title match, also losing, got a different direction for her as well, even though she is number one on the rankings. Deeb trying to redefine the women's division in AEW while also carrying that mentality of true professional wrestling legacy with the NWA Women's Championship. We got to wonder how far that goes and if this merger of the wrestlers continues to happen, not only with Thunder Rosa, but one I would love to see, Camille, show up, especially when I just saw Ashley Vox, former NWA talent, on Impact Wrestling, tagging with C-Star partner, her sister, in the Knockouts Tag Team Tournament, even in defeat. I highly doubt that is a one-off. Just saying. Although I keep thinking the NWA and Impact Wrestling would be the greatest merge ever in AEW to define the biggest women's division ever, but I digress. All right. So moving on from there, let's go ahead and break your brain, pick your brain about this one. First time ever singles encounter. Chris Jericho, Frank Kazarian. Frank Kazarian, he's going to do everything he can to win, but when it comes to single matches lately, he has not had the best luck. When it comes to Chris Jericho, it's about putting people over. But it feels like right now, this is more so a battle of SCU and the Inner Circle continuing. Despite the fact SCU had previous beef with TH2, I think that's been squashed. So give me your thoughts on this match. And honestly, do you see any foreshadowing maybe of Inner Circle conflict like a cost Jericho here? Or does Jericho get the win clean?
You bring up a good point. Jericho, I think he's been in the business of helping to put talent over for a long time now. And he's I thought it was great to see MJF get that victory and him join the Inner Circle. That being said, I think Chris Jericho has had a lot of losses this year on several AEW pay-per-views. I think that right now, I think he's due for a victory. I think we'll see a strong match. I don't think that it's going to be completely one-sided. I think it's going to be a good back and forth match. Will the Inner Circle get involved? Potentially. I don't really see a lot of conflict at this point. I think if anything, I think we're going to see a lot of interaction between the Inner Circle and SCU on the outside in this match.
Okay, but you don't see them getting directly involved in this. All right. Yeah.
Not at this point.
I look at Frank Kazarian and I wonder, where's the mentality stand? Yes, he's SCU for life, but he also wants to own it all in AEW. He wants to be world champion. He wants to be a tag team champion. Clearly, you can see that. He has all this mentality that he just wants to seize everything. He's one of those guys, I feel like, in SCU that can surpass what Scorpio Sky has been trying to do, honestly. And I mean that in the most respectable way. But when it comes to Kazarian, I respect the man's career, his legacy. He seems the most driven and hungry, I feel like, out of all three of these men. And I feel like he's also been the most used, too. So I feel this is going to be a very interesting match, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Kazarian get the win here. And it leads to some inner turmoil in the Inner Circle. And maybe it leads to Kazarian maybe going after, I don't know, TNT Championship just as a random formality, once again, swerving us. Because right now I look at SCU, I don't see them going after the tag team titles anytime soon. Because right now it's surrounded with TH2. And we'll see what's next with TH2 in this Young Bucks feud as well. Maybe it will come more to fruition on the road to when it comes to any of these men involved in action. All right, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's go ahead and talk about this. I was kind of surprised by that. I probably like another ring. No, it's the very same ring that how many countless times has MJF used to win his matches? The 42K ring. It's the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale. Apparently, it's an annual event. That very ring that MJF wears will be on the line in this over-the-top rope Battle Royale, including right now, officially, MJF, Wardlow, Hangman Adam Page, Sammy Guevara, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, both members. Iconic Big Money, Matt Hardy, or so I think, based on that promo. I don't even know what team he's trying to endorse, but it sounds like Matt Hardy's trying to redefine himself. Again, Matt Sydal, Scorpio Sky, Sean Spears, Orange Cassidy, Miro, and Kip Sabian. Okay, let's just go ahead and think about this. The one guy that's been able to do something with the ring is the one guy who's won it so far. That's MJF. I think about who can really win this, who can do a lot with the ring, who can really create it, maybe call it their precious. The first name that comes to mind, I would love, this is just wild card, I would love to see John Silver win this over the top rope battle royale. Because I feel like he would not use this ring for wins, but he would use this more as a stance. maybe up against Mr. Broly about, look at this. I should hold power too in the Dark Order. I mean just as much as you. And then I figure about, okay, all this Inner Circle members, are they going to fight on MJF's behalf, help him keep the ring, like Wardlow maybe? Are we finally shedding the idea of Wardlow and MJF splitting? I'm just going to ask you this first off, and then you can give me your thoughts on who you think should win it or might win it. Is MJF winning this battle royale? Is he keeping that ring?
I don't think he's keeping the ring.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this: who you think's gonna win, but also who you want to win. Let's test both your mentalities.
So I know I'm kind of backtracking a little bit here because the previous match, you know, I talked about Chris Jericho, Frank Kazarian, about how I don't see the Inner Circle any turmoil in that match. That match itself, I don't see any turmoil because I think you're going to see some feuding between the two factions. However, with this battle royal and winning the ring, I think it would be really interesting to see Sammy Guevara get the victory. And get that ring.
Okay. Yeah, I like that because it was teased for the longest time. We thought we were going to get Sammy Guevara with MJF because Sammy Guevara is the one guy in the circle, and I feel like it's still true, who doesn't trust MJF at all and thinks Chris Jericho is being led blind. And you also been hearing about this idea, maybe Sammy Guevara is going to be dropping their circle. Maybe he goes babyface. And it feels like to me when it comes to Inner Circle since its birth, the most profitable member from it besides Chris Jericho, who made the damn thing, is Sammy Guevara. No doubt about it. So that's who you think's going to win and who you want to win overall, Sammy Guevara, just to rub it in MJF's face and really test MJF's like, hey, I'm happy for you, buddy.
Yeah, I would love to see it. I think it would add to the drama. I think that we're going to eventually see those two go at it one-on-one, and this could really help further plant the seeds for that upcoming match that I've been waiting for as a fan.
I like that a lot. Yeah, because I look at this list here. Him and Adam Page, he came this close last year. He was the final two with MJF. Would you wonder if it comes down to Sammy Guevara versus him and Adam Page? If he loses, does he get so distraught? Does he join the Dark Order? Do the Dark Order cost him and Adam Page here because maybe he costs John Silver or John Silver tries to recruit him like, work with me, we'll help you win, etc. Hidden agenda. The weirdest parts in this match to me are definitely Private Party and Matt Hardy. I'm like, what's going on here with this trio? Are they still respecting one another? Is Matt Hardy going to cost them? Is there going to be a fallout with them? Matt Sydal, Scorpio Sky, their friends. Did friggin' Michael Nakazawa oil the turnbuckle? Is Matt Sydal going to go for a high-risk move? Sean Spears, are they going to continue their hostilities with Scorpio Sky? Is Sean Spears going to be once again robbed, call Scorpio Sky a thief? And then, of course, you have Orange Cassidy, Kip Sabian, and Miro. I sense nothing but fallout between those three. I sense they're going to all eliminate each other. The best friends are going to come out and say Orange Cassidy is going to be brawling at ringside. Penelope Ford probably going to be there to try and help her man. A kiss will probably get that guy out of there. But yeah, I look at this field and I like the idea of Sammy Guevara winning, but I also like the idea of just John Silver creating this like his precious. And honestly, those are my top two people to win this. I just don't see MJF holding on to this ring because while he may not have yet had a singles true pinfall loss or whatever it seems, whatever he says, he's undefeated, blah, blah, blah. He's already had a loss though. He's 10-1. This battle royale, based on what happens maybe with him and Wardlow and Inner Circle, could lead to some very interesting developments in what's next for MJF. Because you got to imagine eventually he's going to contend for the title again. MJF to me is a future AEW World Champion waiting to happen, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. So, you know, I will say though, if John Silver were to get the victory, they could do so much on BTE with that.
Exactly.
I just want to, you know, you do have a good. I mean, that would be cool to see. I just want to interject and say that could be comedy gold right there.
Let's be honest. John Silver owns BTE more than the Elites. Since the Dark Order became part of BTE, John Silver is the guy to watch. It's unbelievable.
Johnny Hungy.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. All right. So we still have one more match here. Let's go back and talk about the Nightmare Family versus Team Taz. As Darby Allin, the TNT champion, and former TNT champion Cody Rhodes, they take on Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. No Brian Cage, and as far as we know, Taz might not be there. So what the hell's going to happen here? I don't know about you, but the fact that Brian Cage is not involved in this, but owns a pinfall victory over Darby Allin and is also on the top 5, I sense him being the next challenger for the TNT title. I sense that there's going to be fallout with Team Taz and the Nightmare Family. Taz is going to show up, and once again, he's going to cost Cody here somehow. Maybe not get directly involved physically, but maybe tirade him on the mic. Maybe he attacks a member of the Nightmare Family backstage. But all this to me right now feels like that with Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks here versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Yeah, it feels like, okay, Powerhouse Hobbs, he's going to be the guy that might eat the fall. Maybe Cody gets revenge against him because he's the one that ate the FTW title to the face. Well, I feel like the Nightmare Family is going to win this match. It's going to be Team Taz that sends the statement, I feel like. And this is going to set up more so towards the TNT title, which I still feel like it's weird that it's not looking like it's going to be Ricky Starks with Darby Allin, because that was my first focus, also on the top 5. But give me your thoughts overall this match. What do you expect to happen? And do you see a TNT title match being set up out of this? And if so, against who?
Well, that's a good question. Because we saw a victory from Team Taz the previous week. So, should Darby and Cody get the victory, that'll add more to the story. Will we get a TNT title match? I think we will. I think it just depends who the victor is in this match. I think that if Team Taz wins, I think what will happen is I think you're going to see someone like Ricky Starks pin Darby Allin. That'll lead to a title match between those two in the coming weeks. Now, should Cody and Darby win, I think that'll lead to some more singles matches. And eventually, depending on how things go, you will see someone in Team Taz get a victory over someone in the Nightmare Family, which will lead to a number 1 contendership for that title. As far as what I think will happen, jury's out for me right now. I can see it going either way.
It's just weird that you mentioned Ricky Starks and not Brian Cage. What if they do like Survivor Series 2009? You have 2 members of the same faction, DX, taking on the champion and seeing if the champion can overcome it. Will the 2 stay together? Will they just go after each other? Survivor Series 2009, Triple Threat, John Cena, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, one of my favorite WWE Championship matches. I could definitely see Ricky Starks and Brian Cage being set up to both take on Darby Allin, because Darby Allin's crazy. He probably would take him on, not even a triple threat, but a handicap match, knowing him. Because we've seen the silhouettes. Darby Allin plans to survive if he lets you. He's planning to burn down Team Taz, one foundation at a time. That's what that Darby Allin vignette is. And apologies for the incident earlier. Sorry, Christina. So yeah, I feel like there's got to be a Team Taz TNT title match being set up with Darby Allin, regardless of result of this match. And as far as Cody, I see him and Taz tiring each other more, just on promo wise, and maybe Cody takes on Powerhouse Hobbs, who at this point you think he has nothing really to do, but he is basically the foundation now of Team Taz, the newest member. He's got a lot to prove. Why not prove yourself against Cody? Because you're not going to see Taz's son take on Cody. Although that might be interesting to see if Taz's son chooses a side, and that could be a whole nother underlying development. But we'll have to wait and see. Which leads us to the Blizzard, the main event of AEW Dynamite's history. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. You could cut this with a knife. You could flip a coin to this with how many different ways you think this is going to go. But I stand by what I said with Shane Wells in my definitive, honest, professional wrestling fan opinion. If Kenny Omega does not beat Jon Moxley for this title, Jon Moxley is unstoppable. But with everything Jon Moxley's done, the longevity of his reign over 200 plus days, I think they're 250 if not over already, with the fact he has the United States Championship that has to be defended at some point because I don't see him vacating it. This backline idea of I can see Kenta showing up here and maybe costing Jon Moxley or coming out afterwards and attacking him. Everything right now screams to me into winter and who knows what else as we head towards Revolution. Jon Moxley is not going to be the champion. I feel like he's ran his course. I feel like Kenny Omega is finally going to lead AEW. I can't see any other way, regardless how you set the finish of this match going. I have to believe Kenny Omega is going to win this by hook or by crook. by one winged angel, by 50 V triggers to the face. I gotta give it to Kenny Omega. I gotta see NJPW cleaner, redefined. I gotta see Kenny Omega as my new AEW World Champion. And then Jon Moxley will continue to do what he does because he loves this, but he just won't be champion. There's no doubt he will redefine himself and rebuild himself. But Kenny Omega, it's time for him to lead. What the hell is going to happen here, Brad? I feel like Kenny Omega has to win this, but what the hell do you see happening?
You know, there are so many factors that are going into this match that we've talked about already. The fact that both guys are dealing with an injury. You got Moxley, who's champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's got a little one on the way. The fans have wanted to see Omega as a top player. But with the way they've built this story up, I could see this going either way. I would love to see a Kenny Omega title reign. The thing is, though, for that to happen on TV, is that the way you want Omega to win the title? They very well could do it. They could bring in Kenta for interference. At the same point, though, I could also see Jon Moxley retaining and Omega re-challenging at the next pay-per-view in February. And at that point, he gets the title. Because you also have to consider something else. I know that you and Shane Wells talked about the fact that, if Kenny Omega cannot beat Moxley, Moxley is unstoppable. Think about the fact that Moxley has really been undefeated for the year of 2020.
But pretty much. I mean, his record is 21-0 this year.
Yeah. Consider this. Think about the fact that they could have Jon Moxley as the first face champion for the company be undefeated in his first year. Think about statistics. AEW is taking a different approach to wrestling and how they portray their data to their fans, so to say. Think about the implications it would have going forward to have their first champion be undefeated in his first year. Think about what that would do for Moxley. Think about what that would do for future storylines and being able to pull out this data. I don't think this match is as black and white as some fans think it's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of shades of gray. I think that's why the jury's out. I think that as a fan, we need to go into this match optimistically, but we need to go in with an open mind. I think either way could happen. And I say that not to just leave people hanging, but I bring in all these facts and everything that we've talked about. And I think the real question that we have to ask ourselves with this match is this the right time for Jon Moxley to drop the title? And if so, how do you do it?
Well, it feels like they're putting everything into this match, pay-per-view quality-wise, to go back to your very first point, and very strong foundation points, by the way, as this themed episode of Dynamite is being billed as their biggest Dynamite to date. And that's saying a lot considering what Dynamites we've seen, including Not Limited to Firefest, Fight for the Fallen, other specials, and pay-per-view quality TV shows. And again, with Dynamite always being that show where anything can happen, it seems, pay-per-view quality-wise or not, it just feels like it is time for a change. But I do like that idea since the fact he did win the title Revolution and as being everybody, including Not Limited to Mr. Brody Lee, Jake Hager, MJF, Darby Allin, Brian Cage, the list goes on and on. You get the idea. Eddie Kingston, Lance Archer. I mean, he's pretty much being everybody across the top five. And look at the top five right now. I mean, Cody can't challenge him, of course, because again, he's holding that idea that he never challenged the AEW title again, though people always believe that's bullcrap because in wrestling, you can always find a loophole or way back to it. He hasn't faced Ricky Starks for the title. MJF he's already faced. MJF's second, 10-1. He's doing stuff for Inner Circle. Kenny Omega's number one. He's also 7-0. So the way that you could see this happening is is this the second ever draw on AEW Dynamite? Keyword Dynamite, because again, overall records, Jon Moxley's overall record in his AEW career is 27 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. That 1 draw being the Boston Pac. And honestly, that has not been a match visit either. But of course, Death Triangle and the family are feuding, so I don't see that being picked up either. Kenny Omega's overall record being the strongest winning-based record, 33 wins, 10 losses. And right now this year, he is 7-0. So again, to go back to what you were saying, it truly can go either way. But like Moxley also subtly put, win, lose, or draw. What's the best case scenario on how you do this? Because I believe this is pay-per-view quality, pay-per-view worthy. You got to figure out how long that's going to be too. I mean, they're doing a road to for this episode of Dynamite. You know what key focus is going to be this championship match. It's got to be the biggest focus heading out of 2020. Honestly, this December episode of Dynamite might be our last super big angle of the year, unless Shaq shows up, just saying. And literally, just within 1 month almost of New Japan Pro Wrestling's biggest event of the year, Wrestle Kingdom, where, might I add, this year, Chris Jericho walked in as the AEW World Champion. Wrestle Kingdom is going to have 20,000 people. It's a 2-day extravaganza. If Jon Moxley does not defend the title, the IWGP United States Championship, and NJPW Strong against Kenta, I seriously see that being the next thing made for him at Wrestle Kingdom and taking time off after that, win or loss. But something about this just feels like right now it's time to see a different change in AEW. You made this as big as you could. I don't know if the fans can accept, if you were to round this back with Kenny Omega and Moxley, that Kenny Omega doesn't get the win unless Kenny Omega bludgeons Jon Moxley based on the fact that, well, Jon Moxley says, you need to do more next time. I'm still breathing. So honestly, it just feels like right now, Kenny Omega kind of needs to win more, because I see there being more for Jon Moxley in defeat than Kenny Omega in defeat. And at this point, everything Kenny Omega has done in this reshaped, cleaner character has been to get him to this point and become champion. And the number one thing I think that will also foundate this, if Don Callis is also on commentary, because there's that subtle idea of Impact and AEW working together, which I would love, by the way, but I digress. The bottom line is this. I feel like this December episode, the first episode of December of AEW Dynamite, Winter is Coming, it's going to be the biggest episode, not in just their words, of the year. I think it's going to be their last super huge episode of the year, while they continue week by week by week. I feel like this is their last big time moment we're going to see, and everything else is going to be great, but I don't think you're going to surpass this. Kenny Omega has to win this, I feel like. It's going to be all or nothing, I feel like, for Kenny Omega at this point, because if he loses this, what was the point of all this character development? All for naught. And Jon Moxley's already got a couple of things ahead for him. So I sense Kenny Omega has to win this. And then we'll see if this actually does build towards what some people say, the redemption of Heyman and Page. Maybe that's the idea for Revolution. Yeah. Page finally gets the title there. That's another thing you got to think about too. Revolution, we got the title change this year. Could it happen again next year at Revolution? We'll have to wait and see. But I think Kenny Omega has to win this, in my opinion.
Well, those are all valid points, but you also have to consider, should Moxley get the victory, let's say they both go to Japan, Wrestle Kingdom, that story could continue and it goes further into Revolution.
You wonder, though. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, but you wonder, though, would NJPW allow that? Because while there was a solid tease about Forbidden Door opening with Tanahashi and Jericho, there was no other AEW angles showcased at Wrestle Kingdom, and both Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley were there. Neither man collided. So I like that idea, but I don't think we're at that point yet where you can interlock, like Ring of Honor and NJPW do sometimes, and even that's on shaky ground, where you can interlock NJPW and AEW wise too. Again, we're looking at these dream foundations of these pillars of wrestling coming together to form this megalomaniac super event like All In was. Just a love letter to fans of professional wrestling across all fronts. AEW right now is still pretty much just breaking out of their genesis. We're going to have to see what they do for year 2, as right now their big focus is building the women's division. And I feel like right now, building the company around Omega as their champion. Yeah. So,
well, and you know, you've made a lot of valid points. I could see Omega getting the win a little bit more now. I would love to see Omega as champion. I'm a huge mark for Kenny Omega, and I love John Moxley as well. But I think the key is, if this truly is going to be the biggest Dynamite thus far, you could define that with a championship win. But the other thing is, you can also define that episode with something really controversial, with
like
how that match plays out.
Like a draw.
Yeah, you could do that. That's not. We haven't really seen that too much. I mean, it can happen.
One other time in Dynamite history, I just want to add, there's only been, in Dynamite history, one other time there was a draw. And that was literally Pac versus Moxley. Hence why he has one draw on his record. And another thing you say about controversial finish, there's one other thing AEW has yet to do in their history.
Exactly.
A singles DQ. There has been no match ending in a single base person DQ in the history of Dynamite. Only on Dark with Avalon and Cutler in the weirdest thing possible, a book with a dice.
Well, and this may not have anything to do with it, but it kind of makes you wonder. They've had all this promotion of Kenny Omega versus John Moxley. It's been building up for weeks now. And I think about the fact that WWE just had a major title change on Monday Night Raw. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. I almost wonder if maybe, WWE is kind of trying to steal their thunder a little bit and say, hey, we did it first, so to say. I don't see Tony Khan really thinking about that as a factor. I don't think he'll let that affect him and how he wants this match to play out, but it just kind of make you wonder a little bit with the competition between the two companies. So at the end of the day, you have given me some more weight into seeing why Kenny Omega can and should be the victor. I have to bow to that. I have to give you that.
Right.
For me as a fan, and considering all facts and all possibilities, the jury's still out for me. But I think that at the end of the day, it's going to be something special and something to remember.
Could be another classic on our hands. It could be a controversial match for the ages. It could be literally the day that we see the world change forever. If an NJPW star shows up on Dynamite, we've seen teasers of that with the cameo for Tanahashi with Jericho. There's a lot to figure out when we're 1 month away, literally just under, a little over 1 month away from NJPW's Genesis, as always, of their year, which might I add, another reason why I love NJPW. They literally start from freaking January and go all the way for December. Why can't the other companies do that? I'm just saying. But anyway, I guess AEW does that to a degree too, although their anniversary was in October and they say that's the reset. But I guess just, airtime. But yeah, you figure about, we're just literally 1 month out from the biggest event in all professional wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom. John Moxley, he has a title waiting on NJPW name that literally is just waiting to be defended, taken, and who knows what else. Showcase, I might add. I don't even know where he has that freaking title at this point. Maybe somewhere in his room. But again, there's just a lot to think about here. And right now, everything just seems like, as far as AEW's short-term championship leading future goes, with all other factors in play, Omega's the guy to lead it. And you wonder who could face him first for it, because John Moxley's kind of run the gauntlet of everybody you could think of that's been in the top 5, with the exception of right now, Absolute Ricky Starks, who right now has had no real ambition, no real hunger, no real teasing to go after the world title. Just representing Team Taz and apparently destroying Darby Allin, which I feel like right now is his focal point. I think he wants the TNT title right now more than anything. So that's all I really got to say about that. Bottom line is this. We know winter is coming, but what awaits on the other side of winter, and whether or not this will be the only Game of Thrones reference we see in AEW, only time will freaking tell. But I think with that being said, you got something else in your mind?
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and conclude with this. Winter is coming, but will hell freeze over?
That, I think, is the perfect way to sum up what we're going to see next week. And I'm sure we'll get the answer. Although I'm sure the Roach is going to leave us also continuing thinking, why are you doing this to us? But I think pretty much that right there summed up what we can expect and think about and what our analysis will be come the end of next week's episode of AEW Dynamite. So I think with that being said, we'll just have to wait and see. As my camera now goes blurry, whatever. So with that being said, I think we're done here. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this special preview epilogue episode of AEW Spark. Winter is coming, but what awaits on the other side? Who comes out alive? We're going to find out. But until then, as non-copyright, Dr. Brad, this has been an extreme pleasure. Again, my man, we definitely had our fill of Thanksgiving and wrestling chat for the evening. We'll definitely have to pick this up again. Heck, maybe next week I'll try and we'll try and do this again. Maybe same time. Maybe Shane and you. Yeah, we'll try and expand the panel. We definitely need to do an extended panel again. God bless you all on Team Elite, but God bless you and your family. Is there anything you want to plug, promote, where can people find you, talk wrestling, or get good like pharmaceutical advice from you?
I guess, you know, all I can really say is, you know, I'm thankful to be here. And as we approach the holiday season, just, you know, everybody just remember, be safe out there, take care of yourself and your loved ones. And as we approach the Christmas season, just still go in with a mindset of thankfulness. You know, instead of one day of being thankful, make it a lifestyle of being thankful, because there's a lot to still be thankful for, even in the midst of a pandemic and all these crazy times. You never know when something drastic could happen. And I'm just thankful for, you know, my family, my friends, and all the things that God's blessed me with. So there's always something to be thankful for.
Amen, brother. Amen. Folks, like I said, follow Dr. Brad on Team All Elite. He's a good, positive role model, a great friend, kind-hearted Christian, and he will do nothing but bring joy and optimism to your day. Honest, real talk, real truth. God bless you, sir.
Yeah.
I thank you. And again, before I say anything else, I just am thankful in general for my health, my family, my salvation. And despite the up and downs we faced in 2020, the fact that we still have our love and products in professional wrestling that really have helped us through these times. For me, it's definitely been Impact, AEW, and NJPW, NXT, NXT UK. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of ... wrestling. But I'm also just a kind-hearted fellow too that wishes nothing but the best for all of you. No matter what walk of life you come from, and whether you disagree with me too, that's entirely up to you. We just need to be more conscious, open-minded, not take today for granted. And remember, as JR says, tomorrow's never guaranteed. So treasure your families, folks, and enjoy wrestling. And again, you want to follow me? It's N Foster 1916. All social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Until next time, you know what I'm about. Support NoDQ, WrestleJoy, Team All Elite, support Impact Wrestling, because that's the heart of it, folks. Support my good friend Cindy's podcast in the Stratosphere, part of Bulletcast. What is it? Jeff Meacham Network, Greg Cherry Brand. Good luck, Greg, against Virtue. I can't wait for that match. And of course, as always, I like to close. Support your wrestling outlets, big and small. Let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, unique, elite, authentic, unscripted, unrestricted wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that being said, I thank you everybody for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell notice videos on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. Help me keep growing this channel. Shout out to all 170 viewers moving this fun user careers Dre. It's not there anytime soon. Upcoming talk content includes a conclusion analysis once the Best of Super Juniors 27 and the World Tag League concludes. Definitely be back with Wrestle Kingdom predictions, analysis, and full-on reviews and Simple It Takes Two. Other content, there's TLC, there's War Games, and there's so much more going on in wrestling. Final Resolution, Impact Wrestling, the Knockouts Tag Tournament, so much more. So until next time, again, take care and enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Don't take this virus for granted. Don't take your health and others for granted too. Wear a mask, exercise safety and caution. We will get through this together. But again, be aware, not only for yourself, but for each other. And until next time, we will see you on the other side of winter without a dragon. And I just hope you all stay safe. Be elites.
Be
And have a good night.
elite. Team all
Cheers,
elite. Be elite.
Not copyright.
Team
all elite for life. Good night, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving.
Nighty night.